Well, good evening and welcome to this Wednesday, December the 8th edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. Is it December 8th or December 9th?
December 9th.
Yeah, December 9th, man. Yeah, well, here we go. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me is Jason Juggling J. And at about 1:15, we're hoping to be joined by none other than Vanessa James, Bermuda-born ice figure skater. She skated for France, but she just recently concluded the Battle of the Blades, which is an event that takes place in Canada. This year a little different, and we'll get a chance to talk to her about her partner, the event, and just her life in the figure skating arena. But before we get to that, Jay, as we all know, COVID has reared its head again in a manner in which it's kind of put a lot of things back in place, such as no sports or very little sports right now. We're waiting. We've heard of a few organizations who have gone and postponed their events in the near future. We're still waiting on to hear from other sports. I know for a fact there can't be any youth football with most of the schools already closed down. So we await a decision on that. Well, not even a decision, but an announcement on that. And we await an announcement on senior football as well. We would know, and you would know, sports like bowling, squash, indoor sports will definitely be out because of the close contact and so forth. I know bowling had tried to, or they were working out a schedule to do their leagues, which was working, but with the new numbers now, kind of makes it almost impossible to have league play. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's something that we hoped it wasn't going to come, but it was inevitable going to happen as long as we had the cases coming through the airport. Obviously, incidentally, today we opened up the new airports. But not saying that, we've seen a dramatic rise in cases over the last week. From our last show, it's been about 80 cases. So that in itself, we've never had that in 1 week. So obviously, we have to err on the side of caution, not just for you, me, but just for the community itself. These organizations, unfortunately, just like 2020, a lot of things have changed in 2020. And I think because we've been through it already, I don't think the shock of not having this or not having that it's playing a part on people as it did when it initially happened, But in saying that, we was able to bring our numbers down. So we sort of have a template what we need to do as a community. And I just think we just need to adhere to all the protocols and all the good information that we receive, and just take heed, because obviously, once again, we don't want it to happen to nobody within not only our country, but also our families.
Well, that's just the thing. Adhere to the instructions being given. That's been something that we've been talking about for the last few weeks since we started this. Just people understanding what needs to be done. And again, there are some people out there, and I understand you. If you don't want to wear masks, if you don't want to follow the rules that are in place, that's your decision. But don't force it on someone else.
Yeah, to be honest, Earl, we've been out and about. I just see a lot of inconsistency with the protocols, and that may lead to frustration amongst other people, because they might say, well, this place is like this and the next place is not like, you know what I'm saying? But one thing that we can all do is wear a mask. And that is something that we can all do. So, right. We've seen it at different games or enclosed atmospheres. Some places will have very stringent protocols from one time you walk in. Then the next venue will be totally, I won't say totally opposite, but it wouldn't be as stringent.
Right. But see that there lies the major problem. I think we put the onus on the officials, the government, to make sure that everybody follows the same rule. But can you really do that? Once it's reported, once you report it, you take care of it. But I think what has to happen is the owners and the ownership has to fall on the establishments.
Well, let's first of all, it falls on the individual. I mean, the government, all they basically do is get the information to put the protocols in place. The establishment carries out the protocols per venue. Now it's up to the individual to adhere to the protocol. And that's why. So I even see we have a situation where you come in, you can actually be mobile quarantine. So the oxymoron, if you ask me, but you leave it to one's to figure it out. Hey, keep still. Now, me personally, I think it should be mandatory that everybody, whether you're local or international visitor, once you come to this island, you should be automatically good. But I think we should go back to at least after your 8-day test. So whether you get the information on that night or the next day, I think you should automatically be quarantined. I'm not saying have it forever because of the fact that we can't afford economically can't afford it, but we need to curb these numbers. So even if it's a week by week, we've seen them, seeing places do that week by week, 2 weeks at a time, maybe. But I think that's something that needs to be looked at very seriously because those numbers are climbing and they're climbing pretty fast.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I think a lot of people are missing is the amount of people being tested. That number has gone up dramatically as well, and it's a good thing that we're getting that so many people are being tested. And with the rise in the amount of people being tested, you're going to see that rise in the amount of people testing positive, unfortunately. And hopefully, once we get over this curve, we'll start to see those numbers go down on a daily basis. And then we can get ourselves back in some order of, again, normalcy. Normal is not going to be what it was in 2019. It's not going to be that way. But normalcy of what we were able to deal with in 2020, once we did get back up and running, I think that's what we need to get back to or strive to get back to as early as possible in 2021.
And I'm glad you said that with the numbers because sometimes, folks just throw numbers and it causes so much anxiety. But you're absolutely right. I mean, last show we, I announced that we had done over, I believe, 111,000 tests to that date. So I'm thinking now we're closer to almost 118,000, maybe 100. So in saying that, and then to only have, I think, 300 odd cases, just look at the percentage. So in a big scale, it's very minimal. But once again, with a virus like this, we have 9 deaths on our island. I just think there was one too many. So when it comes to a family member, obviously we don't want to hear that, So I just think we just need to do everybody needs to do what they need to do personally. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we did have some sports take place over the weekend. Some very interesting events. Obviously, we had 2 football games on Saturday, and that was prior to Sunday's cancellation of all Premier and First Division games, where PHC, your team, got the better of North Village, 3-1 at PHC Stadium, and Vasco, they wouldn't want this stoppage if in fact it is going to be a stoppage, because they're on the road. They picked up a 4-2 victory over Wolves down at Garrison Field. Also on Saturday, there was a dressage Christmas show. We had the National Cross Country Championships. And I do want to say congratulations to all the winners of each division. Dej Miners, put on a show. Him and Sean went out together. But in the end, Dej really put on a performance that and Don and I was talking, the president of the Bermuda National Athletic Association, we were talking about his performance when Sean ran the half marathon, and how strong Dej looked running with him. He looked as if he could run another half marathon, and he's in some great shape. So congratulations to him. And then on Sunday morning, we had the North Shore Medical 8K Turkey Trot that was won by D'Amico Watson and trying to remember the female name, but they actually ran away with it, finishing strong. There was also a triathlon, a mixed team triathlon in St. George that was won by a group of young men. They put on they basically had athletes. And when I say athletes, you're talking about a swimmer starting it off who had to, at the end, Jay, it had to be, I mean, he had his teammates laughing because Brian Desmond is one of our up-and-coming swimmers.
Mm-hmm.
And he swam strong. He rode the bike okay, but went out on the run, and he had a good lead. But when he came back, that lead had evaporated, and he was struggling at the end. So, you know, it was a lot of fun to watch these young guys put it all together. And, you know, we look forward to more of that type of entertainment sports. We also had motocross, we had karting, that was on Sunday. And again, we had those football games called off. I did say at the top of the show, we would be joined around 8:15 by Vanessa James. She's actually standing by in anticipation of discussing this Battle of the Blades. I want to introduce you, Jason, to Miss Vanessa James. Vanessa, good evening.
Good evening.
Hey. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Well, I'm good. I'm smiling because the last time we sat and chatted, it was for me, it was a remarkable time because I got a chance to sit across from a well-known, beautiful female Bermuda star. And believe it or not, that video has been viewed more than 107,000 times.
Wow.
So yes, 107,000 times it's been viewed by more than that, Jason.
Happy to hear.
and it's all down to Vanessa.
I was going to say that, Earl.
Well, thanks.
Well, Vanessa, I do want to say I watched the Battle of the Blades, and I know from years gone by, it's an event where a figure skater and a hockey player get together. Now, Akeem is his name?
Yes, Akeem Aliou.
Yes, Akeem, you could tell, was really, really tentative with you day one. And I saw some of you guys getting together highlights of training and all. And I think he was more worried about throwing you somewhere and, you know.
Exactly. That's the best part about Akeem. He was more worried about me than anybody else. And that's what's most important in a partnership. So he had it down pat, like from the beginning. So I was really, really impressed. And I think the first day he was so scared. He was the only one out of the hockey players that didn't try his figure skates before the show, like before our actual getting together and training. All the other guys were practicing, you know, on the down low. So the first time we saw him in figure skates was the first time he ever tried them. So for the first hour, I put on hockey skates, which was a big, you know, no, I shouldn't have done that. It was so bad. But the thing was, it made him feel comfortable because, you know, he was in the zone, he was the leader. And so I got to kind of like feel out his instincts. He was like trying to hold on to me, make sure I was safe in my hockey skates and things like that. And then the roles shifted. And so I got to see him freak out about his toe picks and be worried, but he knew that, you know, I was willing to be vulnerable the first day. And so he could do the same.
Now, obviously your routines in the early stages were one that you guys were being very cautious out there. But I guess week 2, you would have looked at some of the others taking kind of chances because now the scoring and it's coming down to elimination. So what did you work on in between week 1 and week 2 to improve the routine?
Well, you know, I think Akeem, he was the most tentative hockey player. You know, he's all of the other guys were just kind of performers. They laugh, they smile. He's a very closed off person. Behind the scenes, he laughs a lot, but you know, he's afraid of being looking ridiculous and things like that. So we took very cool and calm programs and things like that. And then for week 2, we had to kind of get him out of his comfort zone because we were Halloween week. And so he was playing his own superhero, because he's a superhero to all of these kids that he is, motivating and empowering and finding funding for these kids of color to skate and play hockey and do other different sports. So we had him portray himself as a superhero. So it's very strange for him to, because he's such a modest and humble person, to kind of like portray himself as a hero, right? And we had to put in some risky elements because we had some stiff competition. But we did a throw double flip. He did like a pizza toss thing where he throws me over his head, I turn it, and he catches me. He did a leap of faith, which is really dangerous, and it takes a lot of precision and timing and confidence. So I think in week 2, we shined.
How much time did you work on it in between?
Oh, it was such a quick turnaround because I think we only had maybe 4 or 5 days before the next show. And so we had dress rehearsal. We had to do everything in a full run through. He had to learn new elements. He had to learn new programs. He had to learn new footwork, the timing. So it was really, really hard for these guys. But we spent hours, maybe 4 hours on the ice and then 2 hours off the ice, just, learning new lifts, being spotted by our coaches, learning the steps. So we had long days, and Akeem's still training. So he had his hockey practices and lifting before that. So I think he's really fit now. Not that he wasn't before, but.
And then obviously week 3, you guys have to do a kind of a playoff to stay in kind of thing.
Get it. We skated so well in the second week. But yeah, we were in elimination round. Yeah.
Right.
The third week.
Now, obviously, that's a little nerve-wracking, but you were able to put together a decent performance to kind of stay in.
Yeah, we were very lucky. The thing was, we were really nervous about it. We were one of the first teams to be in an elimination round. I think there was 2 other teams. There were two other teams previously, but even so, we weren't expecting it. It was like a shock to us. So we had to get ourselves, grounded and things like that. But I think we had to dance. But the thing was week 3 was about his charity. So it was so important to him. We had images of his beautiful brown kids dancing with their hockey jerseys that say equality, Black Lives Matter, respect, stuff like that. So equality. So it meant a lot to him to stay in that round, Now
watching that, how much because it was all up on the screens as you guys are skating around and doing your performance, but how much of that do you just want to stop and watch? Because everything, it looked so dramatic and it looked so real.
It's real and it's so touching. And thank goodness we have a dress rehearsal before, because that's the only time we were able to see what's actually on this camera before the actual show. And we were speaking about it, and he said, good thing they showed us this, because I wouldn't have been able to move. I would have been crying, so because it's just so powerful. Definitely he was really, really happy that we got to see it previously and actually got to calm ourselves for such a powerful moment.
Now, let me ask you this. How did you pick him, or how did he pick you?
So we didn't get to pick each other at all. It was kind of production kind of puts people together. They have a boot camp, so they get to kind of see these guys' skills. They get to see their personalities, and then they match us. And I think obviously putting us together would make the first Black team, the Black couple on Battle of the Blades in history. So I think that was definitely something that was really important during this movement that the world is seeing right now, to see 2 Black skaters that are in white sports, hockey and figure skating, and having our 2 worlds collide. And we're both doing similar work, where he's doing work for the Hockey Diversity Alliance. I am doing work for the Figure Skating Diversity and Inclusion Alliance for figure skating, to get more Black and brown skaters, BIPOC skaters on the ice, supporting them, having them, creating a safe space for them to talk about their experiences, to meet each other, also to show that they're not alone, and to empower them, and also to help fund them.
Jay?
Hey, Ice Princess.
Hi.
Well, first things first, I have a 4-year-old. She loves Frozen.
Oh.
She loves ballet. She loves dance. So for a parent of a 4-year-old girl who loves all this stuff and they just gotta watch all this stuff, what would you say for the parents who are looking to get the children into figure skating? Would you recommend ballet, or would you recommend dance? Would you recommend gymnastics? What would you recommend to start them off?
I would recommend all of it, because figure skating encompasses all of that. It encompasses flexibility from gymnastics, grace from ballet, dance is coordination and body awareness. I mean, even soccer, any sport that trains your body to have the fast twitch, coordination, strength, core strength, flexibility, and movement, artistry. Anything can be, helpful in figure skating. So.
And I got a 2-part question there for you. As far as your greatest achievement, what is probably your greatest achievement, and what's probably one of the hardest tricks that you've been able to accomplish, which you never thought you'd be able to do?
So one of my greatest achievements, I believe, would be European Championships, where I won in 2019. Mm-hmm. It's been a dream come true. You dream about this as a child, of winning a title, either Europeans, Worlds, Olympics, so I haven't won an Olympic medal yet, but it has always been, but skating clean and just knowing that you did your best. It doesn't even matter what the judges give you, but knowing that you have done exactly what you're supposed to do and all of your hard work has come to fruition. That was my greatest achievement at European Championships. And then the next question was an element.
Yes.
So this one has to do with Battle of the Blades, because I never in my mind, in the world, would have thought that I would do a throw triple flip with Akim Aliu, a hockey player. This is an element that is done, and the way he accomplished this element was world class. We do throw triple flips at Europeans, Worlds, and Olympics with the same quality that we did it in the show. And it's a rare element to do. Not many couples do throw triple flips because it's the hardest throw in pair skating. So for me to do that with someone that learned figure skating within 2 months, had trained a throw triple flip in 5 days, that is my greatest accomplishment, I think, of my entire life.
I was gonna ask about that, because when they done it, Jay, it was raved upon. The reviews that went down the screen online, that they were able to pull this off, was an amazing feat, because apparently, just the combination, you would have never thought they would have even tried it, let alone pulled it off.
So who initiated? Did you initiate, or did he initiate it?
Listen, it was our coach. I came in and I was like, why would I do a throw triple? He doesn't even know how to skate. And my coach was like, listen, he learned to throw double flip in 2 days, and it was really good, really high end. What's great about Akim is he's consistent. So I had no doubt that after, maybe we could do a triple. Now, with a triple, there's more height, there's more speed, it's more torque. It's hard. It's very difficult. And then you add the nerves from the show, you add the lights. It's very difficult to accomplish. So, but we believed in ourselves. I believed in him, and I know that he's consistent, whether it's good or bad. I always know he's going to do the same thing. And so going into it, I knew he was going to do it, or we were going to do it, and I was very, very pleased.
Vanessa, we have to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation, because I think it's rather interesting that I watched it, but I never saw your lips move like how you communicate. And I want to ask you how you communicate during that. We'll be right back, okay?
No problem.
We've already sung the praises of Welch's famous grape juice, so healthful and refreshing, a truly great family favorite. So with the festive season fast approaching, remember to stock up on Welch's sparkling juice cocktails, flavorful and thirst quenching, another celebration of the greatness of the grape. The Welch's white, red, and rosé are all wonderful on their own, but for a special seasonal treat, try Welch's sparkling juice cocktail in festive punch recipes, garnished with cinnamon sticks or fresh cranberries. All non-alcoholic and also festive. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
And welcome back, as Vanessa gets back in there. Just watching a lot of it, the communication part. I know you said you guys worked hard at it in training for the amount of hours that you were putting in. But during the routine, communication, how does that work?
So you don't get to see it, but I do speak to him. I say like, calm down. I'm smiling most of the time. He thought it was pretty impressive also. He was like, weren't you talking to me during that time? And I'm smiling like this, so you can't really see. So honestly, yeah, he doesn't really say anything. He just concentrates. I do try to, remind him of certain areas where, he might forget something, or just helpful reminders like take your time, 1, 2, 3. But I think a lot of us do it. It's impressive that you can't really see it. So, camera angles and things like that, it works out really well.
Yeah, because all I see you do is smile and everything. But when you guys are out there, first of all, and you're going to do lifts and all, when you're into that now, skating, doing it on a regular ground without any skates, not moving anything, it's relatively somewhat easy. But adding those elements, how long before you were comfortable that he could actually accomplish just the small things of the lift? Because in the first event, it was just you guys were just lifting and he was pulling you down, like caressing, pulling you down, not dropping you down kind of thing, or throwing you.
Yes. Definitely it takes time. So we always do everything off the ice first. We'll put something that's supposed to be over the head to the shoulder first, so that he can feel grounded. He can feel where the balance is, where the weight is, because everything multiplies when it's higher, right?
Yeah.
So we have a spotter, which is our coach, just to make sure like he can, if something goes wrong, he can catch me. Then we take it on the ice and we go after repetitions, many repetitions, till he feels comfortable and he can actually walk with it. He can turn with it, things like that. Then we go on the ice and we start with very low speed. And we'll do the same thing. We'll start to the shoulder, make sure that he feels grounded, that he knows where his feet are, because the guys, you can't really see, but there's always one foot that's a little staggered in front, so that they always have weight either forwards or backwards to compensate if something goes wrong. And so the coach will be just beside us, and then, we'll pick up a little bit more speed, until he's comfortable, and then they just go flying. The thing is, these guys have such natural strength. They surprise themselves too. Like, we have to show confidence in them so that they have confidence in themselves, So it's kind of like a back and forth kind of thing, mutual confidence and trust and things like that. And we know that they'll never do anything to hurt us. We're like these little things that are precious to them. So, they feel really bad when something happens. We had a spill once. And the thing is they're really great with body awareness. So he fell and he just caught me and, bear hugged me so that I wouldn't fall on the ice.
Right.
So, they're very good guys.
Jay, that's the other thing that you have to realize when you're doing figure skating, the injury part, because that ice is very hard.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's not forgiving. It's definitely not forgiving. So you have to be very, very careful. And there have been a little accidents and things like that. But we have accidents in our own training, whether it be with a hockey player or single skating or in pair skating. So you just have to know that everyone's doing their best, and you try your best. You try to give them confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself. And you have to have confidence in your team. So your coach is there to make sure that everything is going according to plan and that everything is safe.
Now, as a hockey player, we look at hockey as organized fighting on the ice. Would you agree, Jay?
Pretty much, that's what everybody's going to watch it for.
That's exactly what it is. These guys.
But when you see these guys in that element of working with the Battle of the Blades, you don't see that rough and tough guy. You see this guy who now has got a little elegance, has got a little class, has got, how do they transform?
Well, I think it takes time. They have to, feel comfortable, one. They have to like what they're skating to, and they have to have some type of connection with their partner. So it did take Akeem a little bit of time to get into his comfort zone. But I think about week 4, which was my favorite performance, he really came out of his shell. He performed, he was in it, it was sexy, we had connection, and it was a beautiful piece, and I really, really enjoyed it, and I think he did too. When he watched the video, he was like, that's me? That's my face? Like, I look good. So, you have to find, and it takes time because you can't just figure it out right off the bat, but we found music that he felt comfortable with, that he didn't have to try and smile and act a part. He was just him.
How about, you say your coach comes up with your routines, but how much influence do you have in knowing that he's probably capable of doing this and not capable of doing that?
A lot. We are the leaders in the team. The coach is there to help correct, make sure everything is safe. But we are the ones that feel everything. We know when something's going wrong, when he's comfortable, when it's safe to actually put it in a program. We can tell what our body likes to do naturally. We have styles of skating, that we don't want to change. So they have to adapt to how we feel. So I did put a lot of my own skating skills and style and movements into some of these programs, most of the programs.
All right. Well, you've got quite a few Bermudians online watching this, and what would you say to them as we get ready to bid you a farewell and season's greetings to you?
Well, I want to wish everyone happy holidays, and I want just everyone to know that anything is possible as long as you believe in yourselves. I want to say to the little kids everywhere and in Bermuda that put your mind to whatever you want. You can make a contribution to the world, to sports, to art, whatever you want to do. So, and I'll be there watching you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations on your performance and the charity that you guys worked so hard together to raise money for. And hopefully you get that opportunity to be back next year for the Battle of the Blades.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
All right.
it for having me.
Okay, we'll be back right after this message from our sponsor.
Coconut oil has been popular here in Bermuda as a skin moisturizer for generations, but is sometimes avoided in cookery because of its unhealthy reputation. We've witnessed a change in attitudes as recent findings indicate that coconut oil is actually heart healthy and can enhance our immune systems, increase metabolism, energy and endurance, and improve digestion. Nutiva coconut oil is a superfood in its own right, and this month we're featuring Nutiva organic shortening made with organic coconut and red palm oils and also hemp seed oils. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Well, Jay, obviously the opportunity to talk with someone who has been around the world known, won championships in the sport of figure skating, just the opportunity to be able to reach out and have that type of conversation kind of warms my heart. And I know the fact that she's so open to have those conversations is a blessing.
I mean, you just said it, a warm feeling inside, proud of her, because not just that, but, she's a young Black figure skater. You don't see that, Earl. There's nothing that's normal about that. And to see her, where she is in the sport right now, it's unbelievable. So I can only imagine when you're coming in a white-dominated sport that skating has been. I'm pretty sure there's been many obstacles that she's had to overcome, and with that beautiful smile, she's probably done it with a smile. I just overcame it all, and sometimes you will say sometimes you have to work twice as hard, but it feels like for her. I mean, we could have asked her, but it feels like it was all worth it at the end, because the stage that she gets to perform now, like I said, the battle of the of the skates. I mean, this is something that only celebrity status gets right now.
Yes.
It's not like the up and coming skater will be in this competition. No, it's the celebrity skater. Whether you're a hockey player or a figure skater, it's the celebrity skater that's going to be in these competitions. And obviously, that whole point of just how they have the Dance with the Stars and stuff like that, they're looking for entertainment value. They're looking for views and the whole nine. So you need to have that person. I'll give you one story regarding the skating side.
Okay.
So Earl, I don't know if I ever told you this story, but back in the 80s, I want to say 85, 86, maybe 87, the Bermuda had a youth squad that went to Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I was a part of their youth squad. And on our off day, we decided to go ice skating. So let me tell you the pilots who went ice skating. You had Irvin Burgess, Corey Hill, I believe Jermaine Postlewhite,
Mm-hmm.
the late Sean Woolridge,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Calvin Patches Dale Jr.,
Mm-hmm.
and myself. So the only two players that actually knew how to skate. That was Irvin and Corey.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of us, we put on these contraptions that they call skates, and we pushed off, and we were just hoping that we could stop without falling. So that was our hope.
Didn't work out that way.
If you remember the Benny Hill shows, I just see someone having the music in the background because next thing you know, our feet's all up by our head and we're rolling on the ice and we can't get up because we don't know how to get up now. So we had this little kid, he was coming across us and squirting the ice in our face and then laughing at us. And I was saying, you little stupid little come, and you can't even get it because the more you're trying to do something, your feet's just moving in one spot and you're not moving. So we finally got to the other side of the rink. Corey and Irvin decided they're going to race around the rink. They're professionals now. Well, Irvin slid up, hit his head, and then couldn't remember nobody. So our night ended up in the hospital where we had to go fetch him. I don't think anybody who would have ever thought, like Sean, if anybody could remember the late Sean Woolridge, Bubba Woolridge, man, jokes. We laughed about it for years and years and years after that because to see we guys with skates on, and yes, that ice is hard.
Unforgiven, mate. Unforgiven. Unforgiven.
Yeah.
Well, I would again thank Vanessa for sharing that experience with us here on Island Stats. We'll come to the part where we're going to talk to our overseas reporters. We're going to start off first with the one and only Vernon A. Springer.
This is Vernon Springer from Passports Media in St. John's, Antigua and Barbuda, reporting for Island Stats in Bermuda. Sports in the Caribbean, sports around the world. Well, what I can tell you is that the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association got off to an exciting start with the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association 10 Splash, which is being streamed, and I think it's also coming to the APCA Facebook page. There have been some exciting games with some 10 teams, which include the combined schools team. So a number of players locally have been involved in it. Devon Thomas has been playing for Bethesda. So you got a number of young players who get an opportunity to have a run out after being closed down for close to 8 to 9 months. So along with some ladies, because you have Shanisha Brittany Hector, the first female cricketer from Antigua and Barbuda and the Leeward Islands. She's also participating along with some other females like Amanda Edwards and Naomi Bellat and Tanya Martin. So the females are also getting a run out in this proposed 10-10 splash competition. Just for the cricket fans around the region and just for your listeners and the folks who follow your platform, Cricket West Indies will have the Super 50 tournament, the men's Super 50 tournament with the 6 territories. That is going to be in Antigua and Barbuda in February. Right after that, they will be also having the Sri Lanka versus West Indies tour. So there will be 3 ODIs being played at the Survivor-rated Stadium. The Super 50 is going to be played at 2 venues. The Coolidge Ground, which is owned by Cricket West Indies and the government of Antigua and Barbuda, and the Survivor-rated Stadium. So that's exciting news for cricket. If everything goes all right, the women's tournament is supposed to be in Guyana, the regional women's T20 tournament. So that in itself also should be exciting. And the West Indies women's senior team, they will start camping in Antigua and Barbuda from the 3rd of January 2021. So in terms of cricket in Antigua and Barbuda, there's a lift, and so exciting times ahead. You have cricket taking place in Nevis as we speak, in St. Martin, in Anguilla, in parts of St. Vincent, and I think Dominica, down to a point there. So slowly but surely, everything is coming around. In terms of the West Indies woes, well, my condolences go out to Kamar Roach for the loss of his father. So he's maybe already home already. So we extend our condolences to him. And Dorish, I think that would be Dorish's last tour. Even behind the stumps for West Indies. A little bit unfortunate that Jamal Hamilton from the Leeward Islands maybe would have to miss out because Joshua De Silva automatically will now get to make his test debut as the next West Indies keeper. But Jamal Hamilton, he's got to go and score some runs because Joshua De Silva outscored him in the last regional for the competition. So the West Indies still searching for two opening batsmen. You never know, John Campbell, Craig Bartlett. There maybe still might be a room for Kyron Powell. I think he still has to go and reflect on himself and, come big and score real big, just not make 500 runs. He's got to make close to about 800 runs. And his psyche and his mentality has to be completely different. In terms of the West Indies captain, this could be the West Indies captain last tour. It's about time enough that the West Indies, if we don't get across the hump here, maybe Holder just maybe needs to give somebody else the mantle. Maybe the West Indies cricket board just need to maybe just say to the Caribbean people, listen, we're going to concentrate on the T20s and the 50 overs, and we're going to maybe build a test team. So we're going to maybe apply and get another young skipper and allow Holder to play. I think it's been a real burden on Holder himself. And sometimes when he's talking about the batters, Jason Holder is our best batsman with the best test average. Maybe the time has come where he maybe needs to step up and go and bat at maybe number 5, rather than just hiding behind the scenes. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But hey, it's been an exciting time. The NBA is returning back. And hey, 2020, it's been a real tough time. But the good thing about it is that we've been able to now look at English Premier League, Champions League. We've been able to look at football, and sports is gradually coming back. This is Vernon Springer for Vast Sports Media for Island Stats in Bermuda, saying, hey guys, stay safe. We're not out of this as yet. And remember, there's only one thing that can bring us out of this, is sports.
Hi, Earl. So good to hear from you. Yes, we in Barbados are doing very well. And what I can tell you is that despite the year winding down, we still have a lot more sports ongoing. And on Saturday, the much anticipated race day that was set for the Garrison Savannah is actually now going to be held. It was postponed initially from Independence Day because the turf was so soft. We had a lot of rain leading up to that event. But now that has all settled down, we'll be having some sun. We are going to have night racing for the first time, the first horse racing venue in the Caribbean to do so. So we're really, we're really happy. We're really proud to see this moment come to life. And Saturday, the race day begins at about 4:30 with the usual formalities. And then the first race is set to run off at 6 p.m. So we're looking forward to that event, of course. This past weekend, we were able to complete our motorsport events. We had 2 rally events, one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday, all stage events. The drivers did really well, but of course could not stop Jeffrey Panton, the Jamaican, from driving away with the title. And cricket is also still very much in play. The regional tournament is set to get going in January, so the Barbados Pride team is getting themselves together, and therefore there is what we call the Barbados Legends Cup ongoing. It features 3 teams: the Sir West Hall team, the Sir Gary team, and the Sir Everton Weeks team. And these 3 teams comprise of players who are vying for a spot in the Barbados Pride side as we look ahead to the regional tournament that's expected to get going in January. So they'll be having events right throughout the week, and the first match was actually completed on Monday, and the next one is scheduled for tomorrow. So the players are getting themselves in good nick, and the selectors are in the stands watching to see how they perform as we get for the regional tournament. And so you might think coming on to the end we don't have a lot to talk about, but we still have sports ongoing in Barbados. COVID-19 would have set back a lot of sports, and they decided to continue to have their competitions late in the year, so sports fans did get some action for 2020. Always good to hear from you guys. I look forward to hearing you again on Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, well, Vernon had it kind of right. There's trouble in the West Indies camp for sure.
I heard that before.
The same record just keeps playing over and over and over.
It's like a bad nightmare. To wake up and it's still the nightmare.
Usually they give you a little bit of hope because they usually win the first one. As I told someone when they went to bet the first time, they'll find a way to lose this game. They will find a way to lose the game. And when it happened, the person called me and said, "You were right." Trust me.
I just still think that West Indies need players to play around the world.
Yeah.
In all different surfaces.
Yeah.
Any team that's only going to be restricted to one particular surface will not flourish on the world stage. Not.
Yeah.
We've seen for many years that, one particular team, let's say years ago that, India and Pakistan are very good, and we saw that with Afghanistan when it first came through, very good on spinning surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to some crickets, came to West Indies or when it went to South Africa or Australia, it was a problem. But you've seen these teams now become almost just the opposite now, So West Indies, we don't see enough players traveling or playing for around the world, and that's when I say that, represent the test team or whatever, because we do see it in the 2020 format.
Right. Not necessarily playing around the world, but the wickets have to be prepared a little different.
But that's just elements in general.
Right. Because if you look at it, the West Indies basically they prepare flat for pace. Flat for pace. They don't. You very rarely see a wicket in the Caribbean that's going to take a lot of turn. And so there lies the problem that the batsmen don't get that opportunity to learn how to bat against that, even at home. So if they decided to do that at home, then it kind of lessens the struggle when they go away, because having guys playing away, you're asking others to take your players in when you have enough opportunity to do it at home.
Yeah, and I agree with you there, but also, like I said, the other caveat is all the other thing that comes with traveling abroad is the atmosphere. Which plays a big role when it comes to special bowling and even batting. Batsmen just be able to bat for long periods when it's very humid and hot.
Right.
That you might see this subcontinent. You know what I'm saying? And you see these guys are dripping wet 8 o'clock at night because it's so hot. So not to say that it's going to affect the West Indies, but then again, the West Indies going to England.
Right.
And they got to wear 2 sweaters and things like that, where they're definitely not used to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it does play a part there. It's going to be interesting how they come out of this, because getting another young captain, I don't see that helping at all.
Yeah, well, like everyone else, the West Indies have to try and figure out a team for tests, a team for 50, a team for 20. If you look around, most of the teams now, most of the countries now, maybe 1 or 2 guys are in all 3.
Yeah.
But majority of the team changes when the format changes, because they want guys to specialize in that format. And
the amount of cricket that's being played also.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's a lot of cricket being played.
Yeah. We'll be right back after the final commercial break. We'll be right back.
Every resident of Bermuda deserves to spend their final days with dignity. They also deserve access to privacy for themselves and their loved ones. Although Agape House has lovingly wrapped its arms around thousands of patients and their families, it can no longer meet the needs of our community. There is an urgent need for a new facility, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate today by going to agiftforagape.com or calling 232-0859. Help give Agape House a new home. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Obviously, with the possibility of no sports taking place for the remainder of 2020, what would you consider a highlight of this COVID-influenced 2020?
Locally or internationally?
Locally.
Locally. Interesting. Man, it's not much you can really, because of the fact that we didn't really have much most of the year, realistically. I can't really think of too much locally. Internationally, I'm just gonna go about the social consciousness that the whole sporting world has really woken up to.
Right.
Even the other day with the Champions League game between PSG and Istanbul, the players walked off the field after the fourth official had allegedly said a racial slur to one of the coaches.
Right.
The players walked off the field.
Both teams.
Both teams. You just don't get that.
Yeah.
So you see that the players, like have you seen in the NFL, you've seen in the NBA, you've seen in the WNBA, the players have empowered, even in tennis, because we saw a lot of that with Coco Gauff during the tennis and young Naomi. You see just athletes now were once upon a time very, very reserved when it came to talk about social issues. They are in the forefront and they're leading the charge. And even though that game was replayed today, PSG won 5-1, but I don't think anybody actually remembers the score because of that issue.
Right.
Did
you notice the other night, I believe it was last night, when Queen's Park Rangers scored, their players went in the corner and took a knee as well. And that was towards the fans that would have been booing earlier in the week. So the players are taking on, even if the spectators don't want to respect their views, they're still taking it on, and they're taking their fight to those people in the way that they can.
And I mean, to bring it back home, we've seen teams really take that on. We're going to have this problem. I think we always had this problem. I just think now we're actually trying to address it and trying to understand, have a better understanding of it. And I think it bodes well. So for locally, it's good just that we got to see some sports, because back in April, I don't think we thought anything was going to happen. And then once we found out the Olympics, and everybody was waiting on for those Olympics. And when those Olympics got shut, it was like, okay, we're in trouble. Yeah. So then it was the first football game or the first event or the first running race. It was always that first one that we got excited for. Going forward, it's going to be, I tell everybody, 2021, we just can't hit a switch. And
it's not. So it's not a light bulb.
So the uncertainty of 2021 is there, is real. You've already announced this week about the Islands game being moved already. And that wasn't due to what? 2021, but now to go into 2023.
Yeah.
Now,
because they would have run into a problem of running into sports like Olympics and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and 2022 is a busy year internationally for major sports as well, because everything's pushed back. And remember, 2023 we'll see that's the year before the next Olympics as well.
Now, so talk about the next Olympics, Earl. I did see the article. Finally, there's a sport that you can actually do.
Don't even talk about it.
Buddy, in 2024, Earl Basin, people are for me to listen to me and listen to me keenly. Earl Basin will be representing Bermuda in breakdancing. Yes, breakdancing. Earl Basin will be able to breakdance. We can send you. Well, you're going anyway, so you're going to take pictures, so you might as well do a little pop lock or something, or a little worm, or, breakdancing will be in the Olympics in 2024. Now, how many years have you been waiting to be in the Olympics, Earl, and now you finally get your chance to do some breakdancing? I don't think you would do skateboarding, because skateboarding is supposed to be there also, and surfing, and I don't think and rock climbing, too. So those four of them is going to be included. Rock climbing, skateboarding, surfing, and breakdance. I'm thinking, Earl, breakdance is your sport.
I'm glad you think that should. Listen, when that topic came up 2 years ago that they wanted to include breakdancing, I have my reservations, and trust me, that could not be that and rock climbing. Come on, man. Come on.
See, we go back to that same old question. What do you consider a sport to the next person?
You know what, Jason? I'm baffled at the fact that intelligent people can sit around a table and decide that breakdancing.
It's a lot of skill, Earl. A lot of physical skill, a lot of mental
It has
skill.
its place in the arts.
Entertainment.
Right. It has its place over there.
So
You don't no, man. Come on, man. You're serious? Come on. You're serious?
So would you consider, because I've heard this argument when it comes to horse racing? Who's the athlete?
The horse.
Okay, check it. Because
The horse.
most
That's
people
why if you saw the story that was done day before yesterday, Annabelle Collins has got her 3rd Olympic horse. You need a horse that I couldn't just settle you up and take you over to the Olympics and we win.
well, we ain't gonna win. One lane.
You need
One lane. It's not for what.
but you need quality. You need so yeah.
NASCAR race, NASCAR drivers. I've heard the same argument with that too. How much skill does it take to turn left?
Well, you need to be fit.
Breakdancing too. I don't think what's your boy D from What's Happening? Rerun. Rerun was pretty good though. Rerun was pretty good. I don't know.
Oh man.
Rerun was flexible.
Come on, man. That is almost that is.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it politely, and I mean, do you see? Okay, all right. Let's put it like this: when they're having the dance shows, arts. That's what you call it, arts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Performing arts.
Performing arts. When you're having performing arts. Do you see them out there talking about jumping hurdles? Do you see them out there talking about running laps? No, because it's not a sport.
I mean, that's what you claim. I mean,
And I'll stand on top of the rock.
I think they make the difference.
Listen.
Okay.
Remember when rock climbing came to Bermuda? Outside of what was
down there, yeah. Bull's Head.
A lot of people started it, didn't it?
Because it's not that easy now, is it? That's pretty wide. Your fingers need to be strong. I'm sorry, bro.
But it's
Earl Basic, can you hold your weight on your fingers?
Well, no. I'm not even gonna try. But
that takes some skill, right?
Yeah.
And practice and training and the like.
But if what are they climbing? Are they climbing a man-made cliff, or are they climbing a cliff?
No, there's be a man-made cliff. Come on now.
So no.
So what do you think about what's that? In ballet, the ribbon.
Rhythm gymnastics.
Yeah.
You're doing all the tumbles. You're doing even with the bowl. You're doing so many different forms of it.
But the choreography, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, just checking.
So it shouldn't be breakdance. It should be break gymnastics.
No, it's based on the choreography. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, well, they put it in gymnastics then.
Well, it might be on the other side of the stadium. You're saying stadium if you ask me.
I listen. I'm not. Listen, you can't convince me that breakdance.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Now, in saying that, I don't know if you saw the story that there is a couple of sports that have been cut.
Yeah.
Weightlifting was one, and then
well, weightlifting right now, it's got so many different things going on as far as their doping. They probably need the break.
Yeah.
They've cut out some athletics. The half marathon is out, and another race is out, because the Olympics can only have X amount of events to take place in the period of time that is allotted. So they have to drop certain events if they're picking up other events. I know guaranteed in 2028, because it's going to be tested in 2022, you're going to see 10-10 cricket.
I see. I was leading to that because I know that was also on the table and looking to. So 2028, I think that's when they trying to get. And I think, am I right? The Olympics are supposed to be where in 2028?
Los Angeles.
It will happen.
Yeah. Well, they're going to get a good test of it in Birmingham in 2022, where they're just doing women. Now, interestingly enough, I want to see how well these individual islands in the Caribbean are. Because remember, you won't have a team called the West Indies.
Right.
Because they all, remember, they all operate under the urn flag when it comes to the Commonwealth Games.
Yes. Woo. Which is unfortunate because the likes of Australia, England.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
Ooh, never thought of that.
So that will make it very interesting for the likes of teams like countries like Jamaica,
Yes,
Trinidad,
yes, Guyana.
Yeah. So we'll see. They have to have qualifiers. See, now they have to have regional qualifiers in order to make it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Also, I just want to remind everybody, please go back and watch the episode of Earl Bays interviewing Stephen Douglas on a very, very important topic. I know you're very dear to your heart.
Yeah, it's like breakdancing getting into the Olympics. Boy, Jason, it's kind of frustrating, and I understand. I mean, I had a few calls and a few emails and so forth, but you gotta look at it as it's blatantly being done. We knew it was being done before, but if you're going to tell the world that's what you're gonna do, and nobody does nothing about it, then there has to be a problem.
Yeah, well, see, I play devil's advocate with you all the time when it comes to this because I know how passionate you are. Sometimes we stuff too transparent, now, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, we beg for transparency, but some things like, you know what, I think you need to just shut up.
Yeah.
You do tell us, no, I had a feeling that what was happening, but you've removed all doubt.
Oh yeah.
For the competitor, I think, it's two ways to look at it. And that's why, for the competitor, obviously it's frustrating, across the board for the competitor. But for the casual fan, for the economy of these countries or organizations, it's the greatest thing that could possibly happen.
Yeah, I understand.
And that's where the two doesn't meet eye to eye.
Right.
If
Bermuda was able to have a IPL type tournament and bring in players, that is one thing.
Yeah.
But we're not telling these IPL players to come here to play in our national team.
Yeah.
That's what USA is doing.
Yeah.
They want them to come and play nationally and not help the domestic by playing in tournaments.
So, but and you stated, this has been going on for years.
Oh, for years, yeah.
That hasn't been said out loud. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Now there's the affirmation that this is what we're doing. It's like, okay, shut up, because I know that's what you're doing. And unfortunately, with an island like Bermuda, we can't afford, we've already seen the political unrest when it comes to immigration.
Yeah, immigration.
Or immigration reform, or the lack of immigration reform, whatever way you want to go down, the pathway to citizenship, because this is basically what this is about.
Yeah.
We've seen that, so we know we're at a loss right there, because the climate that is here in this island, that's not going to happen. But we know other countries, that's a means, that's a ways to bring in money in the government coffers, and that's they will take that. I'm sorry, Earl, they will take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's money. They say it's money out there.
Yeah.
It's a new revenue stream. If they and what makes it like going back to what we just said about with the Olympics being in 2024, that's all the more reason why America or this region wants to be a powerhouse of sort by that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because all eyes will be on them.
Right.
We saw that happen with the women's football in the United States when the Olympics was there back in '96.
Right.
You saw what they done for women's football.
Yeah.
So I could see, follow the money. I could see the but as an athlete, or you as a former athlete, I do see. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna listen to you. You do.
No. They pay me. They pay me just how they pay me. No more.
I thought I'll throw that at you.
Well, look, you enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, with another edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. All right?
Beach Street, Boogaloo, or my man Rerun. Come on, Earl. Which one?
What's that?
Beach Street, Electric Boogaloo, or my man Rerun from What's Happening? You gotta pick one.
The Island Stats Sports Ender.